major fork in the road that people hit with Amazon is trying to look at, should I do it myself versus have someone manage it, and what are the costs involved? And that's what I want to talk about. If you just want to know about doing it versus managing, we're going to share the additional link below. You can check out the other video. But it's deciding to do it yourself versus having someone do it doesn't come from laziness. It comes from being real about things, right? Like you're trying to understand what you're actually signing up for financially, operationally, mentally, long-term, short-term, because on paper, a lot of people get excited about doing it themselves, because you keep full control and you avoid management fees. I'm going to learn the business, and then that way I can pass it on. And in theory, great. All of that's well and true. You're missing so much from the conversation and what do-it-yourself actually looks like once you're past the tutorial phase, which for some can take forever, and into real execution. And when people say, hey, I want to build an Amazon business themselves, what they really mean is like, hey, I want to save money and do it on my own, and I don't want to be dependent on someone else. What you don't realize, do-it-yourself doesn't remove the cost. It just kind of redistributes it, right? You don't eliminate expenses. You absorb it in different forms. I want to break that down. I want to break down the costs and the reality of building the Amazon business yourself in any serious way, wholesale, private label, scalable arbitrage, all of this. Let's talk about it. Now, software alone becomes a huge monthly cost. You need product research tools. As a company, we spend $20,000 to $30,000 a year, right? You need pricing and repricing software, inventory tracking software, counting or bookkeeping if you've got the team for that, usually reimbursement tools, and then you're learning Amazon as well. You need to make sure you catch Amazon errors. Like even if you're running lean, this turns into hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month just to see what's happening inside your own business. That's before a single unit is sold or purchased. Now we have inventory. Suppliers don't operate on theory. You can't go to them and say, I'm going to do a whole hell of a lot. You should give me your product. Minimum order quantities are real. MOQs. Okay, so sometimes it's a few $1,000s. Sometimes it's $5,000. Sometimes it's 10 or 20. And those MOQs don't include inbound shipping, prep, labeling, storage. If you're sourcing domestically, you still have freight and cash flow gaps. If you're importing, now we're adding customs, tariffs, right? Lead times, longer capital lockup. This is where people underestimate how fast money gets tied up. Inventory isn't just a purchase, like that's a commitment to your capital. That cash stays locked away until the product sells. And if something goes wrong, it stays locked away even longer. Now we add prep. Now, do you have your own warehouse? And if not, most people don't. You're paying a third-party prep center. You're hiring labor, right? We have to label it. We have to bag it the way that Amazon wants. There's bundling, there's quality checks. Individually, the costs they feel small. Together, things start to add up. They stack real quickly, and then they repeat and they repeat. Then we need to get brand approvals even before we get the products. We need brand approvals from the brands, and then we need that from Amazon. It can be one of the most frustrating parts of do-it-yourself Amazon. Approval is not automatic. It's not just, I bought this, I want to sell it. It requires invoices, relationships, multiple attempts, and sometimes it's just time and credibility you haven't built yet. People don't factor in the weeks or months spent trying to unlock profitable catalogs and categories. And during that time, your momentum dies and you get busy. And now we got to layer on invisible costs like time learning policies and responding to the account health alerts. And you've got your listings, your appeals and decisions and correcting mistakes. And then they change things up and you have to relearn the software, and Amazon flags those mistakes. That's the cost that doesn't show up in spreadsheets and people don't talk about in their marketing. It shows up because you get burned out. And to be clear, none of this means that like do-it-yourself Amazon is bad. For some people, it's exactly right. They want to understand every single aspect, every lever. They enjoy operational challenge. They're willing to trade time for knowledge. And if that's you, do-it-yourself can be incredibly educational. But education has a price, right? It's redistributed. Many people pay that tuition without realizing that they've enrolled in the school. Manage Amazon models. This is where we enter the conversation. It's not a shortcut. It's a different allocation of responsibility and time and capital. It's properly structured. Managed model isn't about avoiding work. It's about choosing who you want to work with, what you want to own, instead of learning Amazon through trial and error and endless hours sitting in front of the computer. You're leveraging a team that already understands sourcing and compliance and the account health and the operational rhythm. But at scale, So the risk doesn't just go away, it doesn't disappear. It gets handled systematically instead of emotionally. Now, caution here matters. Not all managed models are legitimate. You've seen things online. A real operation should provide, you should be verifiable. You should be able to see the company, know where they're located, where are they based, who owns the account, who owns the business. With a managed one, you will control the funds, you own your business, where are the decisions made. Some reputable operators are listed on Amazon Service Provider Network. You can find us, Enopoly, as part of Amazon Service Provider Network. It's Amazon's own directory of vetted third-party services. It doesn't guarantee perfection, but it signals a tremendous amount of accountability. Sourcing should be clear. The supplier relationships should be real. Compliance standards should be explicit, and expectations should be realistic. If someone comes to you and they promise hands-off, risk-free, guaranteed passive income, that's nice. It's also not professional. It's kind of Bernie Madoff, right? That's marketing. Real businesses talk about timelines and margins and what happens when something breaks in the process, because Amazon is never a set it and forget it. Policies change, competition increases, fees shift, the seasons change. The difference is how these changes are handled. Do-it-yourself sellers absorb all of that, the shock, the cost personally. Managed businesses rely on systems, and neither one's morally better, but they're structurally different. And here's the question most people don't stop to ask. Where do I actually add the most value? If your strength is sourcing and operations, if you've done this, then do it yourself. If your strength is capital allocation, I've got capital and I want to make some decisions, but I want this done, then that managed model makes more sense. What doesn't work is pretending you're doing one while wanting to operate another. People a lot of times do it yourself because they think they want leverage or they want to save money, and they end up having total control over losing money. And that's where people fail. See, the right move isn't choosing the cheapest option. It's choosing the structure that matches your current situation, your bandwidth, your risk tolerance, your long-term intent. Where do you want this to go? Because Amazon doesn't punish effort. It punishes you if your systems aren't right, if it's fragile. Businesses fail because they don't work hard enough, and they weren't built to last and to survive when problems arise. You've got to be in a position to handle that. And so when you're evaluating do-it-yourself versus managed, look at what's my cost, but what am I responsible for if something goes wrong? How fast can those problems be fixed? How much do I realistically want on my plate? What do I want to achieve? Those answers matter more than what does it cost? What's the revenue projection? And if you're honest about that and choose the right path for you, usually it becomes super clear.